Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.
All right, welcome in. What's up, everybody? I'm Wes Moore. Glad you're with us for a little Arkansas-Tennessee post-game talk. Razorbacks fall 34-31 to Tennessee. And tell you what, they showed improvement. We'll say that. It was a much better effort from the team. We're going to bring in a former Razorback with us, Braylon Mitchell, linebacker, played with the Razorbacks. And Braylon, we've talked about this game for a while and for 2 weeks now, and a lot of changes with the coaching staff. Did you see any change with the team?
Yes and no. I think what people have to realize is that with the firing of Sam Pittman, we still have the same team. We're still putting some of the same players out there on the field. So I did see a little bit more fight in defense. I think that had something to do with the 2-week break and Petrino. He probably hit it really, really hard with that part of the ball. So you can see a little bit of difference and change there.
Yeah, it was, let's see here. Officially, I was keeping up with the drives. Tennessee had 12 drives tonight, and Arkansas got a couple of 3-and-outs that were very important after turnovers. Once again, the same issue with Arkansas, turnovers, 3 turnovers, costly turnovers.
Costly.
And, the one that Braylon Russell had, he got hit hard, and they jarred the ball out, and that's his first career fumble for Braylon, and you knew that one's going to bother him for a while. And Arkansas was marching in to get some points here, either a field goal or a touchdown. And then, of course, the Taylon Green fumble, Tennessee scores touchdown on that. So that's a big swing in a 3-point game.
Definitely. What I'll tell you is that Arkansas offensively, whenever we can stay out of our own way is when we'll continue to prevail as an offense. Because if you go back and look at those 3 possessions, those 3 takeaways or 3 giveaways, if you will, go look at the final score of the game. We were driving on each one of those. That's potentially a 21-point swing, just giving away the ball. And I was happy to see Petrino, although later in the game, put Braylon back in there for a little bit, just to show him, hey man, we still trust in you. You can still be a work or bell cow of ours, but we need you to hold on to the ball.
Yeah, what do you think about? And we got to talk about it because it's a 3-point loss, and Bobby Petrino goes for it 4th and 4, second drive of the third quarter, turns down 3 points, or at least an attempt for a field goal. And you look back at it, sure would be nice to attempt that field goal, and hopefully the freshman makes it, and it could be a different ball game.
Yeah, but you can look at this 2 different ways, Wes. Of course, it puts us in a good position to potentially go to overtime, 3-point swing there. But if you remember early on in the first, I believe it was the first drive of the game, we went for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, give or take. So what that tells me is Petrino came out wanting to be aggressive. I think that was a part of his game plan all along. I think ultimately the guys just didn't capitalize on that 1 4th and short. And it came back to, haunt us. But I do think Petrino will go and look at film and break things down and say, you know what? Probably better off taking those 3 points, putting our team in a better chance to potentially win that game and or go to overtime.
Or you know what? Convert on 4th down. Get a play, run the play, convert, and keep the drive going, and you win. There's always your Monday morning quarterbacks, and because it was a 3-point loss and turning down those 3 points, people are going to question it. So I think it's good to talk about it. But, aggressive coach, we know that. That. That's just the way he is, and I'm good with it. I like it. If you want to have fault with it, convert. Run the play and get the first down.
Absolutely, and these are the same guys who he practiced these same situations with throughout spring ball, throughout fall ball, and early on camp and early on in the season. And so when we call those plays, those are like your non-negotiable plays that you have to capitalize on, because if you don't, you're looking on the other end of this thing with a loss when it could have potentially been a win.
We got people will be chiming in. I'll keep an eye out if you have some questions for me or Braylon. We'll address those questions throughout the show. So hit us up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and I'll read those questions. Braylon, let me talk to the defense about the defense. Gave up 34, and I remember talking last week on the bus. We were like, I said, would you take 35? Sign up for 35 points right now. And we were all like, heck yeah. If they can hold Tennessee to 35, that's a win in my book. Well, you know what? They held them to 34, but I still have that kind of bad taste in my mouth.
I agree. Well, when you have to look at our defense today and be impressed. I think offensively they put us in a bad position. If you look at how competitive we were in the first half, I think it was what was the final, what was the score going in the half? So top ball
17.
game, 17-17. And I knew the first defense to
Oh, we lost Braylon
would
before.
put their team in a pretty good.
Good. Yeah, we lost the signal. You're good. You got somebody calling you? That happens on sometimes when you're on a stream and someone calls you, it knocks you off your stream and gives.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You know what? Hop back out. If you want to hop out and rejoin us, you can try that because it just keeps flickering. I'll take a look and see if we can't pull up some of the stats for the game. 17-17 at the half. And Tennessee had their fifth drive of the game right before the half, and it was a 32-yard touchdown. And they rushed on the first down punt. No, that tied it up at 17. Then Tennessee, that was a crucial moment. Remember, Arkansas actually got the ball back and couldn't get a first down, had to punt. Tennessee got the big run on.
Are you there, Wes?
Midfield, yeah. And Arkansas got a stop and kept Tennessee from scoring again at the end of the first half. Second half, Tennessee got the ball to start the half, and they got a field goal. So you look at the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half, Tennessee scored 10 points in that mark. And that's always, a big part of the game. Can you hear me? You good now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me? Tell you what, there you go. I was going to suggest hop on out. And so then Tennessee gets the lead 20-17, and it was more second half failures for the Razorbacks in the third quarter. Did not score in the third quarter once again, and Tennessee built the lead to 27-17, and then the crucial fumble by Taylor Green, and they had the short touchdown to make it 34-17. So that was just a bad stretch at the end of the first half, all the third quarter, I thought, Braylon, for Arkansas.
Yes, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Forgive me, man.
No, you're fine.
All along, when Arkansas just has to get out of their own way. They're crucial. I think Taylor had 2 big-time fumbles, and I'm pretty sure they capitalized off of both. Ultimately, you just have to protect the ball. You have to know what type of situation your team is in. You have to know that you're in a hostile environment to where mistakes like that you just can't have. You have to put your team in a good position to come back and just be in the ball game altogether.
It drives me crazy when he's rolling to the left, and we saw it twice, rolling to his left, and he kind of reaches back to throw. We saw both times. One time the ball got loose, knocked loose, they recovered. Second time, he gets his hand hit as he's throwing it, and they ruled it was a fumble instead of a forward pass. As a quarterback there, you've got to have a better awareness, and it happens once, fine. Learn from that. Don't let it happen again in the same game. Don't let it happen ever again.
Don't let it happen ever again. I think Taylor Green may have been hearing some Heisman talk earlier in the season. I think we can kind of say that's going under the drain now. But I think he was just, out there trying to do a little bit too much. And when you're the quarterback, you're the leader of the team, best player on the team, you have to understand, like, hey, man, like this play is broken down, but let me be smart with the ball. Let me be smart. Let me just, make sure I put my team in a position to be able to make a play and not have the ball way out here and, potentially cause a fumble. He has to be better there. And he's shown us that all season long, Wes, if you can remember, he's done some really good things, but then all of a sudden those questionable plays come up every now and then. And when they come up, it's just deadly for us.
Well, yeah, and he looked as bad as at times with the mistakes. Then you look at the fourth quarter and the comeback and those 2 back-to-back touchdown drives that gets them within 3 points. And you see what excites people about Taylor Green and possibly playing in the NFL. The guy has a good arm. He is accurate, and then he's athletic on top of it. So you got to take the good with the bad, I guess. He's just got to work on getting rid of more and more of the bad.
Absolutely. He's one of those players you can kind of say Arkansas fans have kind of grown to love and hate, right? But to your point, you look at his fourth quarter performance and you say, this guy, he did just enough to put us in a position to win this game. And then defensively, we came out and just wet the bed again.
What do you see? I know you keep an eye on the linebackers, and there are times that the linebackers, it's like they're not even there. And the next thing you know, the running back or the quarterback on that last drive, they're in the secondary. What do you see wrong with the linebackers?
What I see wrong with the linebackers is they're not very good. Okay. At the end of the day, you have to call a spade a spade. They're average football players. I don't think they would start on any other team, and that's not to knock anything that they've done in the past, but they're just not, in my honest opinion, SEC caliber linebackers. And I don't want to dog on the guys at all, but they just haven't shown me anything all season long. That is by far the weakest part of the defense. They show some flashes of goodness and greatness here and there, but you have to be consistent at that position. I don't know if people, the listeners, and feel free to chime in and ask questions, but I don't know if you guys know, but the linebackers are the quarterback of the defense. And the defense is only as strong as your linebackers are. But I don't see them coming downhill, making any plays. And this wasn't a Sam Pittman thing. This wasn't a Coach T. Will thing. This was a personnel thing that has us in the situation that we're in today.
Got a question here from Charles. Charles is asking, what were the Vol defenders, the line stunts in the third quarter that was giving Arkansas so many problems?
The Vols defense.
Yeah, their defensive line started running some games up front, some twists, some stunts, and Arkansas had a hard time picking it up.
Yeah, I think what happened there, Charles, is the Tennessee Volunteers, they looked at some plays in the past that have given Arkansas some trouble. And maybe they were running some stunts where they were having a line or a defensive lineman run up the field and wheel around and get in the backfield, because they know those are the only type of plays that are going to stop Taylor Green from being able to roll out and kill us with his legs. So ultimately, this is a key example of watching film and seeing what Arkansas has struggled with in the past.
I was thinking about it. I think Tennessee ended up with 5 sacks, and it wasn't like they were just picking on one guy. It was like each lineman had a just brain fart or a screw up one time, and it was a costly time. Like Marion Harris, love the kid from Little Rock, right tackle, just got beat one play, but for the most part of the game, he was able to win those battles. But when you lose one battle one time, it can be costly. I saw a stunt game, and it was with Carmona and the left tackle Robinson, and Carmona takes the guy, but the Carmona's guy goes outside to Robinson. Robinson missed him, went right by him, sacked the quarterback. Same thing happened with the center and the guard on the other side, just to miss the stunt. And it happens if you only, I hate to say that they were struggling, but it happened to almost every one of them at least one time.
Yeah, as an offensive lineman, I never played before, so I can't speak from their point of view, but I can just tell you, as an offensive lineman, you have to love your quarterback so much that you refuse to make a mistake that will get him a sack, tackle for a loss, fumble, whatever the case may be. You have to love your quarterback so much that he's untouchable. And that's not to say that these guys don't love Taylor Green, but they make mistakes to show you that, man, like, do you care for the guy? What are we doing here? And so when they get that together, which is midway through the season already, I don't have too much hope, but when and if they ever get that together, that guy can stay clean and he can make plays. He shows you what he can do if he has time in the pocket. And then you got to give credit to Tennessee's defense just in general. They found creative ways to keep him from rolling out of the pocket and killing him with his legs. He had 1 or 2 big plays. I know there was one huge play in the first half. I thought it was going to be like a 20-yard sack, but he finds a way to turn it into like a 20, 30-yard gain, give or take. So he's a creative guy with his legs and with his feet, but we definitely have to make sure offensively that we're, protect him a little bit better.
That's play right there. It was, it may have been an all-out blitz, and he just spins out of there and outruns everybody to the sideline and makes a huge gain. That's one of the plays that you're like, dude, that guy's so awesome. I mean, that's just something that, most quarterbacks can't do, and you're glad to have him on your team.
Absolutely.
And then he turns around and does something, and fumbles the ball or something, and it makes it frustrating. He can be a frustrating guy because of the highs and the lows.
I tell you what, I wouldn't have wanted to be him or Braylon Russell going to that sideline after having coughed up the football. Because I can assure you, Petrino, he had nothing nice to say to him after that.
Do you think, and look, that was a long game today. I mean, we started at 3:15, and we just started our show 15 minutes ago, so it was like 3 hours and 45 minutes. But I felt like looking at the team in the fourth quarter, and even some of the offensive guys on those two drives, they scored, but they looked tired to me. Do you sense, and even with the defense, do you see this team maybe not in as good a shape as they need to be in?
It's tough to say. It's tough to say because the speed of the game is so much different on TV. But I, to your point, I did see some of that. What I would kind of blame it on is I guarantee you that this past bye week that they were running and gunning so much to where they may have just been a little bit worn out from Petrino making sure that they were ready for this ball game. But to say that they're out of shape halfway through the season, I would hope that's not the case.
Because I say that because the second half failures for this team offensively, they've had a hard time in the second half. Defense, they've given up their fair share of points in the second half, and so there was just speculation. Maybe this team isn't in as good a shape as it needs to be, and it catches up to them. I was pulling up some of the stats from the game. Arkansas ended up with 29 first downs, Tennessee 22. Arkansas had 240 rushing yards. Tennessee had 264 rushing yards. Arkansas 256 passing, Tennessee 221 passing. So Arkansas ended up with more yards than Tennessee, 496 to 485. And you throw in the 3 fumbles, you throw in that, that was a good drive. They drove all the way down the field and then did not convert on fourth down. So that's like 4 turnovers right there. That's the difference in the ball game. I mean, we can talk about so many things and break it down. Hey, how about penalties? Arkansas 1 penalty for 10 yards.
Just one. When I heard that stat, I'm sorry to cut you off. When I heard that one stat about Arkansas had 1 penalty, I don't even think they had a penalty until after the first half.
Yeah, you're
right.
And
that speaks to Petrino because we spoke about him and his perfectionist mindset earlier in the week. I can assure you he had zero tolerance for any mistakes in practice this week, and it showed up in the ball game today.
Yeah, there was another penalty on that fourth down play, but Tennessee declined the penalty, and because it was an incomplete pass. So there was actually 2 called penalties, only 1 accepted, and then that 1 penalty was a holding call. There in the third or fourth quarter. Tennessee, by the way, 10 penalties for 78 yards. Arkansas controlled the clock. I thought, Coach Petrino, the game plan was very smart by running the ball. They didn't go a lot of up-tempo until the fourth quarter when they had to, and it kept the defense off the field and limited Tennessee to just 12 possessions on the night. The 12th one, of course, they just ran the ball a couple of times and got that first down and took a knee. How about third down? Here's a stat you'll like. Tennessee was 2 of 9 on third down.
Again, I think I don't want to be misunderstood here. Arkansas defense they've not arrived, and I don't think they'll arrive the rest of the season. But they played a decent football game. To hear that stat, 2 of 9 on third down, that's amazing. But at the end of the day, you have to keep that same mentality the entire game. To see Arkansas's defense come out, we got that stop right at the Tennessee's first drive. We got a 3 and out, I believe, or give or take. They didn't score. And I was like, okay, good. This is what I need to see. I need to see our defense come out and put a couple of drives back to back, getting off the field. And then I think that fumble came with Taylor, and it was just a wrap after that. Their legs were just gone, and we just gave it up. But when you win on third down like that, you have to put your team in a good chance to win that game.
Here are the stats for you. Taylor Green ended up 21 of 31 for 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked 5 times. Raylan Sharp led the team in receptions with 7, also in receiving yards with 76. Omega Blake, 5 catches, 65 yards. You also had C.J. Brown, 3 catches for 50 yards. Shanks, 3 catches, 44 yards, and the touchdown. Rohan Jones, 1 catch, 9 yards, 1 touchdown. I still want to see the tight end involved more, Braylon. I think the tight end can be a weapon for this team.
Absolutely. In any successful Petrino offense, the tight end is like a number 1, number 2 option at the absolute worst. And so to see them not as involved this season as in years past, it's kind of weird to me. But I can assure you that once he gets those guys involved, we're really not only are we going to put up points, we're going to be able to run away with some scoring.
Rushing wise, Michael Washington had 19 attempts, 131 yards. Taylon Green had 98 yards rushing, throwing the sack yards. It's a net of 63. And Braylon Russell, 8 carries, 47 yards for him. And then the turnovers.
Yeah, dude, I was very impressed with Washington. I think he, had we won this game today, he would have gotten my game ball. The way that guy came out and ran the ball today was just crazy. I mean, he was making moves in the backfield and making guys miss and getting yards out the contact. He looked really good today.
Here's a look at the defense. Your leading tackler was Steven Dix Jr., 11 tackles from his linebacker spot, 1 solo, 10 assisted tackles. Xavier Story, the other linebacker, 3 solo, 5 assists, 8 tackles for him. Larry Worth had 7 tackles. Miguel Mitchell had 7 tackles. These are all either DBs or linebackers. It's not until you get to Boone, a defensive lineman. Look, that's nice, though. You get a defensive lineman with a solo and 5 assists. That's 6 total tackles. He's doing a good job. DBs coming in with Walker, Woodson, Quincy Rhodes, 2 tackles, 3 assists from his defensive end spot. But, I don't see any sacks, none whatsoever. And one quarterback hurry. Cam Ball had the only quarterback hurry.
That's a big problem. Now, if you go look at Tennessee's stats, you'll see that the running back, I think he had 145, 150 yards rushing.
He had, Staley had, that's receiving. Sorry, move on down. Bishop. Yep. Net 146. You're exactly right.
And so when I look at, we talked about linebackers earlier, it's a beautiful thing to see them two leading the team in tackles today. But then I go back and I say, let me see how this game really played out.
Yeah.
They gave up 144 yards rushing to one guy. That's never okay. And so that tells me that a lot of their tackles came from, 10, 15 yards down the field.
Their leading receiver, Brazel, who was one of the best in the SEC. I believe he came in the game second best in the SEC. Only 1 catch for 5 yards. It was their other wide receiver, Staley, had 6 catches for 109 yards. And then their tight end. Their tight end killed Arkansas. 5 catches, 56 yards, and he had a touchdown.
He did.
Several big plays when they needed it. That seemed like their tight end delivered.
Yeah, he was their go-to guy. We've struggled with covering guys all season long, even tight ends. If you go back and look at some stats from some other teams, tight ends typically have pretty big days against us. But I think Tennessee found a way to beat us, even though we were taking away some of their passes, not only hitting their tight end, but they said, hey, let's run the ball. Arkansas can't stop that.
5 sacks for Tennessee. And then you can see all the tackles for a loss and the yardage that they had. They won the line of scrimmage, plain and simple. That's a big part of why they were able to hold off Arkansas and win this game. Their defensive line, their offensive line outperformed Arkansas's offensive line and defensive line.
They did. And that has to be your focal point of any team. You are only going to be as strong as your big guys in the trenches. And our guys, they showed up a little bit, but ultimately we just got outdone by Tennessee.
Got another question here. This one's coming in from Jeff. Jeff says, I don't care what anyone says. I saw improvement on both sides. Turnovers killed us, but 4 turnovers against the number 1 scoring offense and lose by 3. I'll take that. I only see more improvement coming.
Hey, Jeff, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I saw improvement as well. I think you're spot on with the turnovers. Ultimately, you cannot turn the ball over. The team that typically has the most possessions put their team in a better chance to win the game. So that's a fair argument. I wouldn't disagree with you at all.
The improvement I want to see from here on out, taking care of the ball. I mean, that's where the improvement needs to come, because it was a problem last year. It's been a problem this year, and it was a problem again tonight. So you can say you saw some improvement in some areas, but the main area that needs improvement is taking care of the ball.
Yep. So, Jeff, that is my one argument with you. Yes, we did see improvement, but what we needed to see improvement in, we did not. What we've struggled with over the last 4.5 weeks, dating back to what Memphis, is turning the ball over. We've turned the ball over. And I know they're working on turnover drills, but it's like these guys get in the game and they just don't want to protect the most important thing. Hold that ball. Just hold it up here. Don't let anybody punch it out, man.
we were supposed to have a former Razorback running back with us, Raleigh Williams. But he said he's in a place where it's just too loud for him to call in, and he's going to join us some other time. But Raleigh, and I saw a neat stat, Mike Washington became the first running back to rush for 100 yards in Tennessee since Raleigh Williams and Alex Collins did it in the same game. So that was and they almost, if it's not for Taylor's sack yardage, he was close. He would have been close to 100 yards. Look, the offense put up the yards. They've been doing that. Nothing changed there. But they got to get more points. And I know 31's a lot of points, but for this team, for them to win games, they have to outscore the other team. Their defense they don't have the playmakers. I mean, because when I'm watching Tennessee, they got some dudes over there. And I'm wondering who are Arkansas's dudes? Who are Arkansas's dudes that can create a turnover? When's the last time they created a turnover that just you're like, wow, that was a heck of – you got to go back to Memphis when the big DB goes up over the receiver and takes the ball away.
Right before halftime against Memphis. I think that was the last takeaway. And the sad thing is defensively, we don't have one of those dudes. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem. The fact that you don't have a guy on defense that you can go to and say, hey, we need a big play and know who you can expect to play from, it's tough.
Jeff did come back and said, but our defense looked a lot better. I'll say it looked better. I'm not going a lot, Jeff. I just can't. They gave up 34 points. You needed to stop at the end of the game, and what happens? First play, quarterback keeps it, and the safety just terrible job of open field tackling. The quarterback makes one move, safety misses him, picks up another 15 yards, have to burn a timeout, and then you got 10 yards. You've got to get a stop, and they couldn't get a stop.
Jeff, I would have given you the benefit of the doubt had that last drive we not kind of squandered the game away, okay? Offensively and defensively, we've not figured out how to put our position. We're in a position to go win the game, but we don't know how to capitalize on it. I was fully expecting our defense to come out that last drive, get a couple of stops. We had 2 timeouts, get some stops. Don't let the guys get the first down. I think it was 3rd and 2. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to punch them in the mouth, and then boom, they get over for the first down, and game's over. So had they capitalized on that last drive, I would have agreed with you. But I'm sorry, you got to give offense one more opportunity to try to win that game.
Jeff did say he saw effort, he saw inspiration. Did you notice that today? Did you see better effort? Because all week on the radio, that's what I said, and even on these shows, I want to see some effort out of the defense. And I do think, going back to what I watched against Notre Dame, I saw more effort and guys that seem to care out there on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely saw effort. I saw that, but effort doesn't equate to W's all the time, right? I remember Sawyer had a big hit on the sideline. I saw him get jacked up, start banging his head. I haven't seen it all season long. So the effort was there, the will was there. Ultimately, we just couldn't pull it out.
Need a couple more stops. Who on the offense side of things? Who's your player of the game?
Oh, Washington, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down. The way that guy ran the ball today it was ridiculous. We need to let him run the ball some more. I think it was weird to me. I heard a stat that this is only his second 100-yard game of the season. I think the other one came against Arkansas State. But I'm like, I thought that guy was running the field like crazy all season long. So hopefully Petrino just keeps feeding him the ball because he looked really great.
Yep, I'd have to go back and look at the other box scores. He had 19 carries today. I got to say, off the top of my head, that's the most carries he's had this season in a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Responded with 131 yards. And look, Braylon, I'd like to see Braylon involved more and get him more than just 8 carries. I'd like to see him in double digits. And Taylor ended up with 17 carries. And now some of those carries are on scrambles, where it's actually a pass play call, but he's having to run for his life. But there are designed runs for him and RPOs that he keeps it. So that needs to be a part of the offense. But I'd like to see those two, Washington and Russell. And, oh, man, there was a play early when they got the third-string running back in the game, Hill. And
yes,
it had to be – I was like, well, that's weird. I haven't seen him in the game in a while, and it's early in the game. May have been the first drive. And it was, because he ran out there where the sun was. I was like, man, he's going to be running, looking right into the sun. And
Yep.
I don't know what the play was, what they were trying to set up, but the pressure kind of broke down, and Talon had to scramble out of the pocket. So I would love to hear from Coach Petrino what was supposed to happen on that play, because they had something for Rodney Hill special for him to come into the game. He motions out of the backfield, goes and lines up as a wide receiver. So they had to be running something with him.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with Petrino if you're an opposing defensive coordinator, because he's going to have one or two trick plays that if he capitalizes on, there's going to be 60 of 6 points on the board for Arkansas. But when you make a mistake and things don't, Heber Springs, that's my school. I love it.
We honored them as the more sports team of the week after Heber Springs came to Little Rock and upset Mills last Friday night. So I had Heber Springs head coach on the show this week.
I'll tell you this, man. I forgot to tell you during the show earlier in the week that you finally got it right with the team of the week, Heber Springs. And hey, they got a big time win last night, so consider them again for team of the week. But Heber Springs, I think this helps Petrino's chances. Petrino he doesn't have a magic wand. I didn't expect anything crazy or any significant differences from when Pittman was here, because it's only been a couple of weeks now since he's been gone. But I think the way that he had those guys come out, we scored on the first drive. Ultimately, we had defense capitalized. We were in a position to win the ball game. So I like his chances.
It did not hurt his chances, for sure.
At all.
So I got to say it helped his chances a little. If they had won, it would have helped his chances a lot. I mean, we still got 6 more games to go. I've said it all week here. What I wanted to see was the exact opposite of what I saw against Notre Dame. Okay? That was embarrassing. That's what got Pittman fired. That's what got T. Will and Deke Adams. That's why all those guys are gone. I didn't want to see that again. And I was curious. That's why I was so intrigued about today's game. How will this team play? How will they respond to Petrino? How will they respond to their defensive coaches fired? How will they respond to Pittman being fired? That's a lot for a team. So I just was curious, because I was afraid that there was a chance that we'd see that same mess that we saw against Notre Dame, and we definitely didn't see that. We saw some from the defense, and the offense.
I wasn't worried about that at all. I wasn't worried about the.
You played for him, so you know.
Yes, I know how intense that guy can be at practice, right? And I know a big part of his game plan in this week was, hey, that crap that you guys put on the field and on film against Notre Dame and Memphis and some of the other bonehead stuff we've done all season long, like, that's not going to be acceptable. So I fully expected them to come out adrenaline rushing and play a competitive ball game.
I know a lot of people don't believe in moral victories, but everything this team has been through and some of the fans have been through, I felt like today was a moral victory, because they competed, they played hard, and they had a chance to win the game. And they didn't get blown out on the road in front of 100,000 people with everything they've been through, all that adversity. And look, they faced adversity today, and that's good too, because we talked about that. What's going to happen when you face adversity now? Are you going to roll over and quit again? They didn't. They came back, scored 14 straight points. Defense got to stop to get them the ball back for the second touchdown drive. So I got to say, this was an improvement. Not there yet. Still a lot of improvement to be made on defense and on offense taking care of the ball. But there were some pluses today.
When I saw that we weren't, I hate to say I felt this way, but when I saw that we were going to lose this ball game, even though we had put ourselves in a position to win, I said to myself, I want to see how they finish this game, because I think it was like a 3-score game, beginning of the fourth quarter. I was very curious to see how they were going to finish that game. Defensively, we never made any stops, but offensively, we put points on the board and we put them on there in a hurry. So I was impressed to see that. And one can only hope that we can get our defense together, man, and still try to make a bowl game out of this thing this year.
Yeah, it'd be a heck of a run. You got to win 4 out of your last 6, and you got A&M coming up. A&M's the top 10, top 5 type team, and then you got Auburn, Mississippi State, winnable games. I mean, they're all winnable, and then on the road against Texas, LSU, and finish up with Missouri. So you got to find 4 wins in there, and if they find 4 wins out of the next 6, go ahead and give him the job.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think if he can win 4 ball games out of this, this last 6, he'll for certain get that job, without a doubt.
You know what I want to see out of this team and him the rest of this way? I
What's
want
that?
him to change something in Taylon's mind to take care of the football. And I'm thinking about it because it was a 10-point game, and Arkansas has the ball, and that's when he's rolling out again, and he throws, and he gets hit, and the ball's loose. They fumble, quick score. They got the ball at the 15-yard line, 20-yard line. How many times has that happened over the last 2 years where he's had a costly fumble, costly interception near his own goal line, and then that's floodgates open. And that's exactly what happened, today. That made it 34-17. And you just think about it, that one play. You never know in a game what could be the play. But looking back, that's the play. If that doesn't happen, and I know it's ifs and buts, and there are a lot of other plays, but that turnover was the only one Tennessee scored off of. The first 2 turnovers, Arkansas's defense actually got a 3 and out. But that one, deep in territory, they scored, made it a 17-point game, 34-17, never could climb back.
Oh, yeah. I think on the plane ride back and leading up until they start practice on Tuesday for next week's game, I think Petrino needs to be all in his ear and just getting on him and letting him know, like, hey, man, this is going to be unacceptable. Like, you are our guy. We're only going to go as far as you take us. Definitely can't be turning the ball over, like that. Like, not only are you hurting your NFL chances, you killing us from making a bowl game and winning some of these close games. I guarantee you take away those turnovers, man, we win this ball game without a doubt.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I agree because the Braylon Russell turnover, they were left at the 17-yard line. I think I put it in my notes. I mean, he had just picked up a first down. It was going to be 1st and 10 when he fumbled that on the 14-yard line. So yeah, they're going to score something there. You got to think.
And you mentioned wanting to see him get a little bit more carries. I wouldn't be surprised if that fumble hurts him for the next couple of weeks. I think he's in the doghouse because Petrino has to make a statement now as the head coach, as the interim head coach. He has to make a statement. And fumbling is going to be one of those things. If you don't take care of the ball, you're not going to get on the field.
Yeah.
I think he may have gotten on the field one other time after that fumble.
Well, and I think they took him into a tent because remember, he got licked and he got hit up. And I thought he may have had a concussion, and that's part of what caused the fumble. But then I saw the replay, and the dude came in. The second guy came in, helmet on ball, and knocked it out. So, but I think he was getting checked out in the tent for a while, and obviously he got cleared and was able to come back in. But I hope it doesn't take away carries. Like I said, it was his first career fumble, and you can see how sick he was pounding the ground after that play. He knew how crucial that was. So no, man, I hope not. I hope he still gets his. I'm willing to give him a mulligan because I thought that was a good play. Honestly, we're watching the game. It's like, how can you keep fumbling? And I'm like, look at that. That's helmet on ball. I mean, that was a good play. And that's one of the comments here from Rich. He says that was a good play by the Vols, and it really was. Sometimes you hate to tip your cap to the other team, but yeah, it was a good play.
Most definitely. It was definitely a good play. But, in football, it's like if the ball touches your hands, you got to catch it. If you're running, you got to hold on to that ball. But definitely a good play by the Volunteers there.
All right, Braylon, man, I'll let you roll. We've already been rolling for like 40 minutes, and we just it was going to be a good show, but we had plenty to talk about, I guess. Hey, great
That's
job.
what happens when you're having a good time.
Yeah, no, it was. It was fun. I appreciate you doing this. And we'll catch up with you here shortly on more sports and talk some more Razorback football. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right, it's Braylon Mitchell joining us on More Sports. We'll have a very busy week coming up as we get ready for Texas A&M. We'll have our high school football player of the week, team of the week. We'll have the rankings. It's going to be another really good week for More Sports. Like I say, because of the way they played, I do feel like there is still going to be some apathy is not setting in. So I think the interest will still be there to see what Petrino can do with this team down the stretch. Hey, I appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. We got to run, but we'll be back here tomorrow night for More Sports.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.